Sean Kinston, Chris Brown on it as well. Check it time, it's exactly 30 minutes after the 7 o'clock hour. It's a beautiful Friday morning, the 19th of August 2022, and this is still the ultimate breakfast with myself, Bonita. I did say that we would be delving into a very important conversation for this morning, and this is with regards to Career and Business Development InterVarsity Conference. Are you currently a student or you've just graduated? What to do after college or university? This is a question you've been probably asking yourself, and life has changed dramatically over the last year, and what looked like a normal path to follow might not be right for this new world. You've invested a lot of time, money and energy to get to where you are. So now what? And with continued uncertainty in the job market and an economy in the doldrums, starting a business after college or varsity is an option that graduates are increasingly considering. In fact, research shows that around 60% of recent graduates say they would like to start their own businesses. Now, starting a business can be one of the most rewarding experiences life has to offer. However, it is important to make sure that you are prepared. What sort of preparation goes into it? Now, the Project 24 country tour is in Lesotho this very weekend, and this is to help answer all your questions. Project 124 is an innovation enabler designed to revolutionize youth entrepreneurship and facilitate effective creation of sustainable jobs for young people. It is the brainchild of Launchit International, and its founder, Khutsafalo, is in our studio this morning to talk more on the gist of the tour, especially the Career and Business Development InterVarsity Conference. He's an international renowned author, an entrepreneur, an empowerment expert, radio personality, a true visionary who lives to impact the lives of young people in Botswana and in Africa at large, with his wealth of business and life knowledge and wisdom. Good morning, Goitsemang.
Good morning to you, Bonita.
Thank you very much for becoming a part of today's show. This beautiful morning, we are so grateful that you traveled that far to come have, this very interesting conversation with us right here on Ultimate Radio.
Thank you, and I think it was a great experience, to fly out here. This is my first time in Lesotho.
Is it?
And people are very welcoming to this mountain kingdom, and I've met quite a lot of people. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to enjoy. There's a lot to observe, and also some of the things that you could share. And I'm happy to be here. And good morning to everyone who's listening all over Lesotho.
For all of life's big and small moments, Temper Hollard Insurance Botswana. Our wide range of insurance products guarantee to get you and your loved ones back on track when life hits a short left. Better futures start with Hollard.
Yeah. Anyway, indeed, it's lovely to have you around. Now, let's get straight into our important conversation this morning. And I just want to know, which are some of the skill sets that an entrepreneur should have in this day and age?
Yeah, I think to understand what that would do to an entrepreneur and a young person to know why they have to have the skills is to start with understanding the landscape of where we are right now. There used to be a time when all you had was an idea and you just go out there and do whatever you can. But life has changed, entrepreneurship has changed, the business world has changed because of COVID. Even towards the COVID, nowadays there's too much technology integration. We need so much persistence. We need so much. I think a lot of people, for example, what I keep telling young people in Botswana is that it's one thing to really work hard at doing something in a business, but then it's another thing to do the right thing. So a lot of people want to, I think the first skills they want to learn about it is learning how to do the right thing. The right thing in sense of, are you solving the right problems in your community? Are you solving them the right way? Are you applying all the things that you need to know in terms of building, the right products? Because some of the times we look at what's happening in other countries and we think it can work here in Lesotho.
Yeah.
And then, for example, I used to think Basotho were the blankets because it's just their thing. Because our kind of a cultural attire are based on the fact that they're just ceremonial. But when you look at what the blankets signify, you realize like today it's like very cold. I've never been in a place this cold. But it makes sense. So I was wondering to myself, when somebody's wearing a blanket, are they being patriotic with the culture? Or are they using something that actually solves the problem that is there? So I realized that that's the level in which you have to think. Sometimes you want to try to take something from somewhere, implement it in your community, and you don't realize that there are immediate problems to solve. So I think that's where that's the thing you need to know, doing the right thing at the right time. Yeah.
Wow, I love the fact that you tapped into business, entrepreneurs addressing problems and solving problems, because sometimes they just delve into the business world just, to make money.
Of course.
Create a living for myself without really having that in mind, I have to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Now, how best can the education system be, molded to make young people crave the excitement and control of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I think the way in which I observed it, and I think it's the same is true even with many African countries, there used to be a time when schools were created. The idea of those institutions, learning institutions, was in the way in which they see a human brain. There are institutions that see a human brain as a vessel that needs to be fueled or filled with information. So the way in which to test if the education works is to be able to check how much of the content that you are giving to them, they're able to comprehend and also recall. So those who recall more content during examinations, those are the ones that are called academically excellent. So most of what we are doing it's because that's how we see the human brain. But over the time, there came other institutions that look at the human brain from a different context. For example, they see the human brain as a fire that needs to be ignited. They respect the fact that this is somebody who's innovative. They have the ability to create. So what we have to do is to create learning platforms that what they do is to empower more listeners, more learners, more people to knowing how to use their brain to creatively innovate. So I think I've seen a trend in increment, and I've seen it in my country, and I think it's going. If it hasn't started here, it's going to come. Where more institutions are becoming more vocational, to become more inclusive. For people with disabilities, for people with somebody. Just that somebody failed. We say Form 3. I don't know if you say grade 3 here or
yes, we do. We call them grades as well.
Yeah. So somebody who did their junior high school, like we had a high failure. I think over 40% of young people were failing that examination. And ultimately what it meant is that the people that were very good at sports, because they couldn't perform well in the academics, they felt like their lives were over, so they didn't know what to do going forward. So I think that's part of how the education system needs to be involved. Not necessarily to say it's been doing it badly. I think the time for what it has been doing, it's over. It did a great job because it produced you, it produced me, it produced whole lot of other people. But when you look at the new generation, Yama 2000s, the way in which they work, how energetic they are, how creative they are, how emotionally in touch they are with themselves, with the world, how creative. Like for example, they have dance moves that anybody born before 2000 cannot do. I think somebody would attest to this, that there's a time you were in a mirror and you were looking at your TikTok and you're trying to learn that dance move and you couldn't come together. Theoretically in your mind, you see this is how you do it, but your legs can cooperate. But you look at them and they're able to just like that get into it. So we have to create an education system that is able to nurture and sustain such kind of a generation.
Now let's talk about the transition from being a fresh out of school graduate and now getting into entrepreneurship. I just want to know, why is it advantageous for fresh graduates to immediately move from being students straight into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I think I'll tell my own story. When I was at my first year orientation, I was at a business school in Botswana, and that's the first time I heard the word entrepreneurship. So I Googled it, and it was a 3-day orientation. Day one, they talked about it. We want to raise a generation of entrepreneurs, do entrepreneurship. I was like, what is that? And then when I learned about it, I said, this is what I want to be. So I said, if we graduate on a Friday, I want that on the next week, Monday, I want to be working in my own company. The only difference when I graduated was that my company was there, but it was 2 years old. So I was now learning how to become an entrepreneur while I was a student. I was learning how to sell things and, you know, learn the skills and learn the trade, learn the tricks, expose myself going forward. And I think this is what most university students sometimes forget. You get into school and you focus on school. It's good to do so.
Yeah.
But the thing you have to always keep at the back of your mind is that we live in a time and an age where there was a time before when you finish, you know, university, you go straight into your work. Somebody's able to absorb you into their market. But nowadays it's not true. I don't know what it is here in Lesotho, but where we come from, that's not how it is. So we want more students to be able to actually get into a space where they are able to create their own jobs. And jobs doesn't mean you have to create an enterprise that you own. There's a lot that's happening. Technology has brought so many different industries all together. We've got influencers, content designers. There's a lot that young people in Lesotho can actually do from Lesotho and export outside and actually, you know, build the enterprising and the wealth from there.
And now I believe that we could be having one young person listening to us saying, I have a brilliant idea and I believe wholeheartedly that it would work, but they sometimes struggle to obtain, you know, sufficient capital to start their own businesses. How can the role players, I'm talking about governments, I'm talking financial institutions, organizations, come together to address this challenge?
Financing entrepreneurs, which is what I do as well, it's a very sensitive thing to do, but the most necessary thing to do in our time and age. Because one thing entrepreneurs need to learn is that investing, there's two people involved. There's the investor, which is the financier. There's the entrepreneur who has the company that needs to be invested into. So there is a lot that goes into it in building the ecosystem that support entrepreneurs. But the first thing that I want to say is that we need I really encourage companies, you know, that are listening to be able to invest, you know, in research and development that allows young people to discover themselves, to test out products. Because here's the thing, when you look at the Western countries, they have got capital that they build from government. Even us in Botswana, we have the Youth Development Fund, where government sets aside a budget. It's not like a lot of money, but young people are able to apply for such fund to test out the ideas. In most cases, we have actually created one of the best, you know, companies in Botswana, owned by young people because of such fund. We see private sectors like, you know, banks in Botswana, they're creating incubators where, for example, I know some of them this is an idea that will be huge here in Lesotho as well. Instead of taking out 1 million maluti and you are giving out to people, you can actually invest half of that in going to pay an extra room for a rent somewhere. So it's still your building, but you rent out that building. So you're paying it like 20,000, 10,000 maluti every month. But that's the space for innovation, for creativity for young people. They go there, they don't pay, you know, rent. Because here's the thing, most young people, they make the money, but that money goes into paying the expenses of running those business. So they are all in the same cycle of not knowing, you know, how do we move from here. So big companies who are trying to empower young people in Botswana, what they do is they solve the problems for entrepreneurs. First one is space. So because they can, it's like you have 2 offices in Maseru. So you create the third one. But the third one, even though it's branded it's open for the young people, that you put internet there. You never know what's going to come out of that. Events start being hosted there. Young people start discovering that you could actually do a whole lot more in that. And then government, you know, I know every government tries as much as they can, you know, to support and grow the, you know, the economy through investing in human capital. But I know there's a lot that can always be done. But education and providing an opportunity for entrepreneurs and innovators and creatives. And when I say entrepreneurs, I don't mean people who own businesses or are to own business. Anybody that can enterprise something, even themselves, you know, whether in content design or whatever it is that they do, there needs to be platforms that allows them to actually discover. And knowing that it's okay, if this money goes down the drain, it went down the right drain because you were developing someone. You never know how many people come out of that.
Indeed. Now let's talk about your visit to Lesotho. And I must say, hey, it doesn't look like a pleasant one looking at the weather. And like you said, you've never been anywhere where it's this cold. But then again, let's talk about it. What makes up the tour and what are the events that you're going to get engaged in? So, but I mean, I'm also looking at it from the other side of saying, hey, it's cold. But if I came to Lesotho any other time,
I would have never known and experienced what's special about Lesotho.
Yeah.
I think Lesotho is the leading exporter of cold in Southern Africa, if not the only. I mean, the cold that we feel in Botswana, I think it's from here. So it's you should be proud of that. So we are traveling Africa as we speak. We're going to countries like here. Today, this is actually our first stop. So we're going to Kenya after this.
Okay.
And then you're going to go to Ghana and then also Zambia through this tour. And what this tour came from, you know, a lot of young people all over Africa follow what I do. They love what I do. They comment on the pages all the time and say, hey, you need to come to our country. And I think for the last 6 years, a lot of young Basotho who follow my page have always been saying, we love what you're doing in your country. And I could feel it, because sometimes when somebody tells you their story of what they're going through and what they want, if they see something great happening somewhere and they're like, if you could experience this. And I'm here hoping that, you know, for those that are passionate about empowering young people, entrepreneurs, whether it's universities, companies, could actually come in and see what we do and be able to do the exact same thing, if not better, for the young people. So the events that we are doing here is today, I think at 9 o'clock in the morning, we are going to be at the CRC Hall in Katlehong, and it's the InterVarsity Conference. So what happened is that all universities in Maseru have come together to bring all their students to that hall, so that we can be able to address them on, you know, harnessing the entrepreneurship spirit that we sorely need right now where we are. So I can't wait to walk into that hall and see all of those young people who've always wanted to say, hey, we want to not really see you, but actually experience what you do. But my heart keeps telling me I need to see more people who are passionate about it. So this is why we have most other things. Later on today, I'm going to be at Avani, just sitting there. I'm meeting people one-on-one who would like to see me. Maybe they have projects they're working on, they have businesses that they want to start. They need one-on-one advice. So I'm going to be there from 6 p.m. by the lounge there. I've also brought my books with me so that those who want to learn from my books, they can do that. Tomorrow morning, we also have a masterclass specifically for business owners. People who want to transform the lives of young people. If you want to come and learn how to do it, we're also going to be still around here to do all of those.
And I would love to believe that there's a whole lot that they're going to gain out of this interaction, starting from the one happening today and tomorrow. Can you put a highlight on that, like what's in store for them?
I think they're going to experience a platform that sparks your ability to think beyond what you normally do. Because here's the thing, I don't speak to people because I'm an expert as much as they think I am. I speak to them because I, like them, was once in a place where I had an idea, but I had no idea what to do. I had the passion, I did everything that I can, but there was no one to support. I know how it feels like to be being the loudest and saying, hey, let's do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's get here. You've got all the vision, you've got all of this, but there's no traction in terms of people coming through. I know how it feels like to run businesses that are not going anywhere, but I know also how it feels like when everything turns around together, because we've been doing this advocacy work for over 10 years in Botswana to say, hey, government, let's do this, respectfully showing them the vision. And trust me, right now, the things are much easier. We have much more players in our space because of what we are doing. So I think that's one thing that is going to happen. One that I like more is the one we're about to do now, which is also open to the general community. So if they be a student, whether graduate or somebody who's just a young person, is not a university student, you just want to go and learn from all of this, please do go to CRC Hall. And when we get there, there's a lot of panel discussions with local, because this is what we are going to do. We have local speakers as well, who are doing the work that we do here in Maseru. They're also going to be speaking, and then our presentation as well.
And I just want us to emphasize the importance of fresh entrepreneurs interacting with people who are saying, I've been doing this for a while and this is my experience. Why is that important?
Mentorship is the 21st century crack code that is going to help any entrepreneur to succeed much faster than they would have done so. I know sometimes when you talk about it, to say, hey, I've been there, done that, and I'm here to teach you, sounds like you don't know anything, because that was time, that was like 20 years ago, and you don't know what's going on today. But I'm a product of mentorship. I'm a product of people that believe in what I do. Because here's the thing, mentorship, what it does is, it does the 4 things. Number 1, it teaches. So you are able to learn a 20 years of experience in just the moment of sitting with the people telling you this is how you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know sometimes young people feel very creative and they're like, you don't know how things work, but trust me, somebody may not know the road to success because they have failed. But one thing you don't see is they know the road to failure. So when they are guiding you and you are taking the steps they took, they are able to see that you are making a mistake. So sometimes you look at somebody who's trying to mentor you and like, show me what you achieved. It's not always about that. Most of my mentors have not achieved what they have taught me to achieve. But they made sure that I don't do what they did. Number 2, mentorship connects you. The networks that you need, trust me, it's not always about learning. You need to be able to be connected to the right people. So you say, I have a project here, and automatically, because he's been working for like 20, 30 years, he's been running a business for quite a while, that person is able to say, when you say a project, some name come into mind. And these are people that maybe you will never see in your lifetime. So they're able to make a phone call and say, hey, I'm sending somebody over there. Some of those things, so those people, they have properties, resources that they can give, which is what also does mentorship. It provides. So I say it's important for young people to connect themselves to the people that have walked ahead of them so that they can be able to be held accountable, because running in a business, most people quit their job for it because they're saying I'm quitting my 9 to 5 because I want to be my own boss, but then realize that actually quitting 9 to 5 puts you on a 24/7. So you are working non-stop, you are the top man, you wake up before everyone, you sleep after everyone. When it's month end, people are happy that it's month end, but you are not, because you're gonna have to pay salaries. There's a lot of things that comes with the pressure, the mental health issues. There's a lot that comes in. So I think personally, having mentors that help me has been the greatest blessing in my journey. So I will always recommend for people to take that path.
Wow, sounds like they will definitely have a lot to learn once they become a part of these interactions, indeed. And you know what? We wish you all the best with everything that you came to do in the country, and hopefully by the time you leave, our youth will definitely say, you know what, Goitsemang was definitely here, and we see a change in us as individuals. And you did speak about where people can find you on social media. Tell us about that.
Yeah, go on Facebook, search for Goitsemang J Khutsafalo. You see some light-skinned dude wearing a white t-shirt. That's me. Okay. On Instagram as well, Goitsemang J Khutsafalo. And I think, should I share my WhatsApp line so that people who want to do a one-on-one later on, you can send us a WhatsApp on +267. That's the Botswana code. Yours is +266, I think. Yes. So we are literally after you. So +267 and then 77045403. +267 7704 5403. All you have to do is just to say, hey, I am so and so, this is what I'm doing, I would like to see you, and then our team will be able to book a session for you later on today and tomorrow. We're flying out tomorrow afternoon. So far it's been a beautiful experience. Thank you for hosting us, and thank you for everyone who's been showing us so much love, and we can wait to experience more of Lesotho.
Thank you indeed for coming through as well. And like I said, we wish you all the best with what you came here to do. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, that right there was Goitsemang Khutsafalo, and he was in the studio with us this morning talking about the Career and Business Development InterVarsity Conference. He's an international renowned author, an entrepreneur, an empowerment expert, a radio personality, a true visionary who lives to impact the lives of young people. And of course, we are done and dusted with that conversation. Check him out on social media, text him on WhatsApp if you want to become a part of it all. And now it is time for us to head back to more beautiful sounds this beautiful Friday morning. This time around,